It's tier list time. Hi YouTube, we are doing a new tier list for Overwatch 2 Season 8 mid-season patch. And I first wanted to get a feel for it. I played on a few of my accounts. I played on an account that's basically like high masters, low GM, and then I played an account around gold to plat level because, well, that's the only way I can play with my friends. So I've come down to a pretty good tier list, and well, unfortunately, I started recording the DPS part and then the file got corrupted, so you get to see the DPS part over here completed, and then we'll do the tank and the support part. Now, let's not waste any time and get straight into the video. Oh my god, there's something else in front of the screen right now. It's telling me that more of you are unsubscribed. You come back to watch the video. Anyway, guys, if you're coming back, enjoying the content, enjoying my voice, enjoying my thoughts and theories, and you enjoy, talking to me in the comments, then please hit the subscribe button. You get to support the channel for free. It helps with the algorithm. It helps me grow the channel. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and all that good stuff, and then YouTube pays me and you guys don't have to pay me. So I just like you guys coming here and watching my videos because it's free and it's on YouTube, so why not? Thumbs up. And if you don't like it, well, there's other creators, so what can I do? Anyways, with that out of the way, now we get to see the tier list again. Let's talk about it. Okay, so in the C tier we have specialist picks. Now these picks, they're not going to be good in the hands of any random player. Yes, they can make them work on some of their better maps here and there, but you really would want to see the best of the best on these characters, because then, only then, will they get the most mediocre value out of a Genji, Junkrat, and Pharah pick. And yes, they're in that order. I think as a specialist pick, Genji is the best option. Junkrat is a little bit far down, and that's just because it's so much more easy to counter Junkrat and how easy it is to run over him. And then Pharah is a bit of an awkward pick. Pharah, if she has a Mercy, she's basically she's good, but if she has no Mercy, then you're just kind of relying on, well, nothing. You're kind of screwed, if I'm being honest with you. You pretty much need a Mercy all the time. If there's no Mercy, please just play Echo. Anyways, moving on to the B tier list. Now, in the B tier, I've called them that these are heroes that can work, but they can feel underwhelming at certain times. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up and explain the thought process over here. Now, Reaper, by far, has lost his identity to the character in the S tier, Torbjorn. Any place that you can play Reaper, Torbjorn is the better pick. Realistically, I've given this so much thought. There is nowhere in Overwatch 2 where Reaper is just better to play than Torbjorn. Torbjorn has Reaper's shotgun, but he can rapid fire it. He can become tankier. He can poke. He has two different forms of playstyles. He can flank better than Reaper sometimes. The turret can zone out flankers. Torb is just so much more better than Reaper at everything. And Reaper's whole identity from Overwatch 1 was that he was supposed to be the tank buster, and now he doesn't have that, and there are better tank busters than him. So Reaper has just gotten forgotten with the sands of time, and he desperately needs a rework. Moving our way up, Symmetra is really good on killing the hill maps and certain first points for some hybrid maps, but after that she can begin to feel a little bit underwhelming. Her ultimate, her kit, everything else can feel really awkward and can easily get played around by any enemy that's really smart. She has some really poor matchups against characters like Winston. Even a good Pharah Echo can zone her out really well, and even snipers, because her hitbox is really awkward and it's really good for snipers to aim into. So Symmetra, she's the queen of King of the Hill, or in this case, Queen of the Hill. She's really good. She really wants to control this one zone, one space, and play around it. And she's just really good over there. Otherwise, in a lot of other scenarios, she just feels awkward and underwhelming. Sure, you can try to make her work, but you just need so much more resources from your team if that's to happen. Speaking of underwhelming, Cassidy. Cassidy is okay. He is the most okay character in the game. His damage is okay. His fall-off has completely destroyed him as a character. His damage is okay. His grenade is okay. His ultimate is okay. The role is okay. What he can do in the game is okay. Really, sometimes it only feels like his whole purpose in the game now is if they pick Pharah or Echo, you pick Cass. And even then, on longer sightline maps, Ashe is the better pick. And he's just been kind of outclassed by every other hit scan in the game. Pretty much Sojourn is an upgraded Cassidy in the style of gameplay that they want to do. Has much more burst fire, and that mobility that Sojourn has is a massive upgrade to Cass. So Cass is okay, you can play him, but understand, as soon as you feel like you're not doing enough, or if the map is too wide open or too long in terms of sidelines, please just pick Ashe or Sojourn or Soldier 76. It's just much better to play. Bastion as well can work, but can feel underwhelming. The community has started to evolve their playstyles at all levels of play. Like anytime Bastion goes into turret form, you pretty much LOS and you can wait it out. And I've been seeing this in gold as well. So, shout out to the gold players. I was playing with them yesterday, and even they've been starting to adapt that, hey, look, Bastion's coming in. Let's just move out of the way and wait it out and then run him down. So Bastion, he can work. He can definitely, like, you can catch some really aggressive tank players off guard and force them to slow down and win some lobbies off of that. But if the enemy team is playing slow and playing careful in their respective pick, Bastion can just feel underwhelming because your recon state is just horrible. It's really inconsistent and there's not much that's going to happen. Now we transition over into Sombra. Sombra, like, the awkward thing about Sombra is I really did want to put her in A, but can we just pretend there's like a middle, like she's B plus and A minus. Let's just call her that, right? Sombra is really good. I love her rework. I think she's really strong, but she can feel super underwhelming because, like, while her lethality is good for one target. And she's really good at hard countering or dealing with characters like Widowmaker, Zenyatta, like any character that you can single out that might not, like, have enough time to react or to do something about it. It's really easy. Even a Mercy, like, you can just insta delete Mercy and walk in on her team, or you can play close to your tank and bully the other tank. Like, Sombra is really good now with her rework, but again, her lethality is extremely awkward at certain phases, and her ultimate, if your team doesn't go in when you ult, it's pretty much GG's. And as much as I hate to say this, even when I play at low GM and and I've seen other people play, and even at, well, of course, in low elo it makes sense, but it's like when you EMP, your team for some strange reason just kind of stands there like, well, we EMP'd, so what? Like, nobody has the drive that, oh, we're EMPing, let's go in. I see this with, like, Dragon Blade as well. Like a Genji will do Nano Blade, doesn't matter what level of play it's at. People just stand there and stare at the screen like, oh, okay, Genji's going in, let's just kind of wait for him to kill everybody, and then I'll walk in safely. Like, go, like, guys, if a Sombra EMPs, if a Genji Nano Blades, or a Sojourn is Nano Sojourn at that moment and using her ult, go with them and help them. Like, if they get singled out, you lose your win con, especially with Sombra, because if she EMPs and if she gets caught or nobody else follows up, the game is pretty much GG from that point on. So, come on, guys. Grow a backbone. If your Sombra sees a good EMP opportunity, catches a lot of people, go in, don't be scared. Moving over to the good side of things, we have Widowmaker. So, Widowmaker is a bit of a, like, special, like, I did want her to be in Specialist, but I feel like even if you understand the basic fundamentals of Widowmaker and you can at least get one pick on her every fight, the sheer, like, fear that you can put onto the enemy team and how fast people tilt against the Widowmaker pick, it's just so easy, to win games on Widow from that point on. Now, I will say this, it's really easy to counter Widowmaker nowadays with Sombra and Kiriko. Kiriko, because she has the tiniest hitbox in the game pretty much, and she can easily line up 2 kunais towards the Widowmaker and then delete her. Same thing applies to basically Sombra. Sombra just easily, like, cannot be seen in perma-invis, sneaks up behind Widow. Now, here's the thing, for the Sombra players that are watching, never ever use your hack. You just virus and burst her down. She has 175 HP, she will get insta-deleted, trust me. The hack is what betrays you because it gives Widow enough time to react. So always virus and then hold left click and delete Widow. Moving over to Soldier 76 and Hanzo, both are pretty good damage dealers. There's not much to say about them. They're much more consistent and much more reliable than the cast that is below them. So if you can get good on them, they're really good. The same applies to Mei. Mei is also very consistent. She can help her tanks out a lot with the way that she can use the wall. She can care for herself. Her ultimate is really good, especially if you know how to use it. And those snipes with Mei, like, she has one of the biggest projectiles. I know people get tilted that, oh my god, like, Hanzo's throwing logs at me. Guys, Hanzo has one of the smallest projectiles in the game, if not the smallest projectile with Genji. Both Hanzo and Genji have 0.1 size. Mei actually has a very big size that I can't remember by heart, but I've seen a chart that compared all of it. And, Mei is kind of crazy. So keep an eye out for, Mei. Mei is a very strong pick. So, please keep an eye out for Mei. And then now we move over to the S tier pick. S tier picks are Torbjorn, Echo, Ashe, Sojourn, and Tracer. So now let's talk about the S tier picks. Now, Torbjorn is very strong. I feel like people don't give credit to Torbjorn where it's due. Torbjorn's ability to zone out flankers, burst down tanks, poke from afar, and steal a pick or two in a team fight. Like, whenever I talk about DPS, I really say that we need to, first of all, nerf Bastion just a little bit more and give power to his recon, because, like, nobody likes playing against Bastion's, like, turret form that much. But even Bastion can be kind of ignored. The number one DPS that I want to see addressed is Torbjorn. Like, people don't understand, like, a good Torbjorn, the way he can control the entire game is insane. He can zone out tanks, zone out flankers, steal backline picks and support. Like, once you get that aim down with Torbjorn, the control he can bring is insane to the game. Now, his hitbox is definitely his biggest weakness. His big giant circle. If a good Tracer or a good Hanzo or a good Genji, like, they get on you and you're kind of naked, you don't have cooldowns, you'll be deleted. But let's be fair, this can be kind of applied to pretty much any character. Like, if you catch Kiriko without any cooldowns, if you catch, like, Ana without any cooldowns, they're pretty much dead, right? Torb, though, shouldn't be slept upon. One of the best DPS in the game. Really strong this patch. I've been playing him. Like, he's extremely, like, if you play him on defense and you know good turn spots, I'm sure there's a lot of videos out there explaining good turn spots, you will have the map on lockdown. Like, you will control that game. Moving up from this point, we have 𝐒𝐒. 𝐒𝐒 is the best flex DPS / projectile DPS option. Her burst damage capabilities are the best of her entire role. She is a combination of every... Funnily enough, it plays into her lore as well. She's a combination of playstyles of all the, like, you know, like Genji, Hanzo, Mei. What I basically mean by that is, like, she has different differing playstyles that she can play with poke, she can play with brawl, she can run into the rush, she can dive in with dive. Like, there's so many ways to play her. Like, you can help set up engagements for your tanks like you would on Mei, like with the way you can use your stickies and beam, because, like, they don't expect it. Like, the enemy tank won't expect that, oh, this Reinhardt is pushing into me, I'm a Ramatra, fine, I'll take the duel. All of a sudden he gets hit by the stickies and by the beam, and now he's like, oh shit, what now? You know, like, the control that she can bring with them, the same, like, the sticky, like, beam combos on a support that's like, does not suspect it. Like, there's so much power in 𝐒𝐒. I really love 𝐒𝐒. I would just really love it if maybe her ultimate was a little bit better, because I think without a doubt 𝐒𝐒 has the worst ultimate in the DPS category. I don't know about all Overwatch 2, but I do think she has one of the worst ultimates in the DPS category. It's just really underwhelming. It's pretty much used to just get a second life, and very rarely when you use it will you get an opportunity to pop off. Now, the top 3 picks, in fact, like, I wish if there was an SS plus tier, like the best of the best, Ashe, Sojourn, and Tracer, they, like, I would put them all almost on the same level, just because they can, like, Tracer can kind of get zoned out by Torbjorn or any good Brig, or, well, just, like, even against an 𝐒𝐈𝐈, she gets really awkward, but Sojourn right now is really, really strong, and Ashe as well. Like, on some maps, if she's got that Mercy Pocket or Zen discording targets, like, it's just unbelievably oppressive. Like, there's so much power in Ashe. Bob is like an okay ultimate. Sojourn's ultimate is the strongest ult in the DPS category right now, because of just its insane burst potential. Any good Sojourn player will at least steal 2, and even that is more than enough. If you can steal 2 picks with Sojourn's ultimate, even that is more than enough. Then you just pray to God that your tank has a brain cell and follows up. Tracer's ability, Tracer can do so many things. Do I really need to talk about why Tracer is really strong? Like, you guys understand Tracer, right? Like, it's been 7-6 years of whenever she's meta relevant, like, why she's meta relevant. Amazing ability to flank supports, amazing dual ability, like, lots of things to talk about on her. This video is already long enough. Let's get straight into tanks and let's get straight into supports. Now, let me just quickly clean up the screen. While we're here, guys, what do you think about the DPS role? Do you think, like, were my picks good? Do you disagree with some of them? Do you agree with some of them? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm kind of curious to hear, like, who do you think is bad on DPS and bad on support and bad on tank and all that type of stuff. Anyways, moving on. Let's try to speed through this. Mauga is... he has places where he can work, but he can feel underwhelming. Okay, I'm just going to try and keep it short now. D.Va. D.Va is also the same. Can work, but can feel underwhelming. There's so much stuff in the game that, like, yes, she can be really good at mitigating the power of hit scans. Like, she's such a counter pick dependent hero. Like, it's not like you would ever start a game on D.Va, at least in my opinion. You would try to counter with D.Va, and that's where her strength would come in. So, so that's where I think, like, D.Va comes in. For me, she's B, she can work, but she can feel underwhelming just because there's a lot of, like, you know, just the burst healing in this game renders her, like, nearly useless. Doomfist is a specialist pick. If you don't understand Doomfist in and outs, the text, the way to move, the way to set up your engagements, the way to use your empowered punch, it's pretty much GG's. He's just like, just don't play Doom, play something else, please. Jungle Queen is pretty good. Very mechanically demanding hero, but let's take it under the scenario that you know how to play her. She's not that bad, she's actually pretty good. Okay, that's it. Again, we're keeping it short. I don't want to go into too much depth. Video is really long already. Orisa. Orisa is actually pretty damn good. What a surprise, right? I would say she's side by side with Junker Queen, but her survivability, and her ultimate, because it's better, because like Suzu can really screw over Junker Queen, but Suzu, like even if somebody Suzu's like Orisa's ult, Orisa can still damage them. Like it's all dependent on Orisa's positioning, but I also think like Orisa's versatility and flexibility in being able to be played in brawl and poke comps just takes the cake over Junker Queen, who is pretty much relying on having specific heroes and specific comps to really get max potential. So for what it's worth, both of them are pretty much on the same level. Just a little edge on Orisa's part. Like, please don't sleep on New Orisa. New Orisa is so impressive. Going over to Ramatra. Ramatra is very, very good. Gotta put him in S tier, probably the best brawl tank in the game. If you don't know how to play Ram, please play him. He's really good. Reinhardt is a specialist pick. I hate saying this, but Ryan is in a really bad spot. We will talk about him tomorrow. I'm gonna do a video on why. I think I did do a video on why Reinhardt needs buffs and all this type of stuff, for why Reinhardt might need a rework. I think I need to talk about Reinhardt again. Like, Ryan has really just kind of been forgotten about, and it's just really sad. Like, I really feel like people don't talk about Ryan enough, and I really disagree with the developers' logic that Ryan is good. Again, just because a hero is popular doesn't mean the hero is good. Now, maybe tomorrow's video will be that, explaining like hero popularity doesn't equal, hero viability. Anyways, Reinhardt, specialist pick. You can make him work more often than not. He can feel underwhelming, but you know what? I'm gonna put him in B. Like, I have to think about like the overall ranks, not always in high elo. Reinhardt is meh. Like, he's okay. He's okay. If you're playing up until Masters, Reinhardt is okay. Masters and above, you should pretty much be perma locking Ramatra from that point onwards, or Roadhog. Roadhog is an S tier pick. Insane hero right now. His nerfs, yes, they've made him a little bit more vulnerable, but he's still an insanely strong hero. I will put him behind Ram because I think Ram's consistency in being able to poke and brawl and just control map is much better than Roadhog's, because Roadhog is pretty much on a timer. If he just misses the hook, if he can't like really get max value from hook, he's pretty much useless. So Roadhog, he has his strengths, but there's some windows where he just has too much downtime, and Ramatra doesn't have that. Ramatra is a threat right now with the buffs that he's gotten over the past few seasons. Ramatra is really strong. Can we get behind Ram? Thank you. Sigma, another S tier tank pick. I don't know whether I want to put him behind Roadhog or in front of him, but I do think Sigma, again, really strong tank, great uptime, very fair to play with and fair to play against tank as well. I never tilt when he's on my team or Gussi at the team. He can fit into many different compositions for those solo queue environments. You can easily play with him and against him. He does kind of fall apart against brawl comps. Like, even Reinhardt can just run him over, Doomfist can run him over, Ram can run him over. Like, Sigma struggles to really respond to like really aggressive tank plays. Like, if the brawl tank is just like running into your face, you're kind of screwed. Now, Sig is really good against Mauga. You can like draw out the fight, but Sigma's skill potential against Mauga particularly can feel a bit underwhelming. Regardless, if you can draw out the fight against Mauga, the second his E drops, he's going to get bursted down. So make sure to save your rock for that type of interaction, and it's very powerful. Sigma, an S tier pick, a very powerful poke tank, very good at staying alive, very good at fitting into very different compositions and working around them, as well as working with the general roster and having great synergy. Winston, in the general gameplay environment, like, Mauga is still really good against him. Roadhog is dominating the game. Junker Queen can annoy the captain of Winston. Orisa's back. I will say Winston is now a specialist pick. Like, I don't want to say the general, like, I have to view this from general community perspective. Like, Winston, from a general community perspective, people are still learning the character, learning the ins and outs of when to do what and what to do when. Winston is specialist dependent. If you're specialist dependent, like, if you're a specialist on Winston, you are in the good tier. But if you're like the average Winston player, you're pretty much like, okay, I can make it work, it'll feel underwhelming, and then I swap. Because they'll pick a counter like Mauga or Roadhog or even Orisa, and then you're just sitting there like, okay, I don't do anything, I guess. Wrecking Ball is garbage. Please watch Yeetel's video on this. I will always echo this sentiment. Wrecking Ball needs a lot of help, and I actually argue that Wrecking Ball might need a complete rework. If they give him one or two new abilities, it's not going to do enough, and maybe I will talk about his problems on this channel soon too, of why Wrecking Ball needs a rework and what needs to be done to help him out, because holy crap, he really needs help. He's really struggling in 5v5, and it's been over a year, and it's a shame that the developers have just left him be. He's really bad. I'm putting him in F tier. He's really bad. He works like maybe 1 out of 15 Wrecking Ball players will be somebody that like are pushing ball to the absolute maximum capacity and making work, but like why do that when you can just play any other tank and do 2 times more? Zarya, also a good pick, really not much more to say. Orisa is back, and Jungle Queen's a thing. She has good matchups against them. She has okay matchups against the tanks above her. She has decent matchups against the tanks below her. It's pretty okay pick. She's pretty good. Like, Zarya's general, she's alright. I think that's it for all the tanks, guys. Now we're going to be moving over to support, and then we're going to end the video. So, do you agree with my tank picks? I know you might feel differently because of your own personal experiences, but remember, like, I play at higher levels of play, but I also do have an alt account where I play with my friends and I see things from their perspectives in the lower elos, and I try to take those into account when I make these tier lists as well. Ana, now moving on to support. Ana, really strong. Like, I think I'll make the tier list first, and then we'll talk about, my choices. So, Iliari, A. Baptiste, S. Probably better than Ana, I would argue. Kiriko, also really strong. Actually, I think Kiriko behind Bap. 𝐓𝐈𝐈, good, I would say. Like, none of the supports are really bad. I would put, hold on a minute here. Let me just finish this up. Man, I think, like, Brig is like, oh my god. Okay, we're gonna talk about it in a second. Let me see. Who did I miss? Like Lucio. Okay, so specialist, and I think that's all our supports, right? Like I didn't miss anyone. Yeah, I think I got all of them, right? Yeah. Okay, so the C tier is like, I think Zen could be good. Like, I'm a bit lost on Zen. Like, what do you guys think? Like, I don't know. Like, I do feel like it does require a specialist on Zen to get max value. Like, if you're picking Zen into like Tracer, Sombra, Winston, then what are you doing? And Zen is a bit of an awkward hero. Like, I really don't know where to put him, so I'm just gonna leave him in specialist with Lucio and Mercy. I don't want to talk about Zen. Let's talk about I think Zen is good. Like, Zen is good right now. He's pretty okay. Like, he's really good against certain tanks. Like, he's good against Ursa. He's good against Mauga, Roadhog. So he's pretty good. I would say, okay, you know what? Let's put Zen in A. I think Zen is A, maybe just behind Iliari. Yeah. Okay, Zen is A. I don't think he's you don't need to be a specialist. Zen is pretty easy to learn as well. Rest is just mechanics. So, specialist, Mercy and Lucio, these supports can definitely feel like the most underwhelming to have on your team because they are very reliant on, number one, both these heroes sharing the qualities that they need to be really good with their movement mechanics to not get caught and die. And then number two, like Lucio's value in understanding how to use the speed and Mercy's value in pretty much turning a DPS into a gigabuff raid boss is extremely important. If these two cannot achieve these requirements, these heroes feel really underwhelming and they're really awkward to have. But they're not bad. Like, in fact, you know what? Like, even just the general level of gameplay, it's like there's no support that's actually bad. They're all workable, as long as you just make sure you have one high healing support. If you are playing something like Lucio's and Mercy, make sure one other support can do high heals, right? Moira is a character that she's the easiest to play support in the game. She's probably the easiest character to play in the game, but she has a lot of versatility. She has a lot of flexibility in what she can do for the team. Her damage is okay. Her ability to single out a target or chase a target is really good, and that makes her a B-tier pick in my eyes. Yes, she lacks quote-unquote utility, but she's not as bad anymore. The game has really opened up to allow her to thrive in 5v5. So Moira is really not that bad of a pick, but I would still implore that any character above her, you should definitely try to learn them because they can do more than Moira and they bring more to offer to the table than Moira. Moving over to 𝐓𝐈𝐈. 𝐓𝐈𝐈 is really good. The tree is basically another rally. It is really oppressive. It's really hard to deal with unless you have specific characters. And pretty much if the tree comes up, it's either a team fight win or a team fight loss, depending on who's on the receiving end, right? Receiving end of healing and then the receiving end of like, oh, we have to play against a tree. I am so sorry for confusing you guys. Zenyatta is a pretty good pick. Burst targets down, Discord Orb, I digress. Don't want to extend this. Iliari is an upgraded Zenyatta in the sense like, she's a lot more mechanically demanding, but she has that same playstyle that, okay, she can kind of quote-unquote pocket her team, allow the pylon to do that, take some off angles and start sniping people. Once you have that control, Iliari is pretty strong, and her ultimate is amazing. Her ultimate is, I would even argue her ultimate is one of the best ults in the game, and it can just easily win team fights. It's not that hard to do either. Brigitte is very good. I was thinking of putting her in S tier, but she is a little bit composition dependent and also a little bit counter pick dependent. So because of that, because you can't play Brig like almost everywhere, you do have to kind of like be careful where you play her. She's really good if you have an Ana. Like if you have an Ana, you can easily play Brig and do your thing. But if the enemy team is playing something like Pharah, they're playing like Ramatra and just like walking on you, Brig can just feel like, oh god, like she's an F tier pick, right? So Brig, a little, like, it's just because she's a little bit more situation dependent, she drops down from best to A. And that brings us to the S tiers of the characters that can work anywhere. Like Bap, Ana, Kiriko, they are so strong and they have the most powerful and oppressive abilities in the support role. Ana's Nade, Sleep, really strong. Kiriko Suzu, Invulnerability Frames, really strong. Baptiste, Immortality Field, Mr. 3 HP bars himself. We've talked about it a lot. They've still, like, the big three. I would say these are the big three of the support role. They've maintained their positions as the best supports in the game. Like, if you're ever, like, thinking about learning any of these three, go ahead and learn them. They are just perfect investments for your time. I would argue that BAP does rely on having a little bit of a pokey or brawlish comp, but Ana and Kiriko can be played in anywhere, in any comp, in any situation, and they are just so like flexible in what they can do. So that's going to be it for the tier list video, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to support the channel for free, as we mentioned earlier, you can hit the subscribe button and hit like on the video. And most importantly, if you want to see more content like this and other stuff for Overwatch 2, then please hit the subscribe button for my channel. It helps support me for free, and well, I get to keep doing this for you guys. I took a small break. I have been doing some exams, so it's been a little bit difficult. Anyways, enough about me. I will see you guys in tomorrow's video.